Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
We are back with our midweek Torah study. This week's Torah portion is Shemini, which is 8. 8. The 8th. It's 8. All right, so we are going to look at the first 4 portions of Wednesday. The first 4 portions of the Torah portion this week, which goes essentially from chapter 9, all of chapter 9, and chapter 10 up until the 11th verse. So our half portion of the Torah portion is Leviticus chapter 9, verse 1, all the way up to 10, verse 11. Okay? Since we, so what we're going to do is we'll probably read, let's read from 9:1. Let's go all the way up to 16. 9:1 all the way up till 16. Hold on one second. Let me just put this on the screen here. We are looking at, this is the JPS, which is identical to our textbook portion. Textbook, the Septuagint. So we'll go ahead and look at Leviticus 9:1 through what did I say?
1 to 16.
16. So hold on one second. Let me get rid of this because we are started. Okay, let me get rid of this. Okay, go ahead.
It said, and it came to pass on the 8th day that Moses called Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel. And he said unto Aaron, take thee a bull calf for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering without blemish, and offer them before Yahweh. And unto the children of Israel thou shalt speak, saying, take ye a he-goat for a sin offering, and a calf and a lamb, both of the first year, without blemish, for a burnt offering, and an ox and a ram for peace offerings, to sacrifice before Yahweh. And a meal offering mingled with oil. For today Yahweh appeared unto you. And they brought that which Moses commanded before the tent meeting, and all the congregation drew near and stood before Yahweh. And Moses said, this is the thing which Yahweh commanded that ye should do, that the glory of Yahweh may appear unto you. And Moses said unto Aaron, draw near unto the altar, and offer thy sin offering and burnt offering, and make atonement for thyself and for the people, and present the offering to the people, and make atonement for them as Yahweh commanded. So Aaron drew near unto the altar, and slew the calf and the sin offering. And the sons of Aaron presented the blood unto him, and he dipped his finger in the blood, and put it upon the horns of the altar, and poured it out at the base of the altar. But the fat and the kidneys and the lobe of the liver of the sin offering he made smoke upon the altar, as Yahweh commanded Moses. And the flesh and the skin were burnt with fire without the camp. And he slew the burnt offering, and Aaron's son delivered unto him the blood. And he dashed it against the altar round about, and they delivered the burnt offering unto him, piece by piece, and the head. And he made them smoke upon the altar. And he washed the inwards and the legs, and made them smoke upon the burnt offering on the altar. And the people's offering was presented, and he took the goat of the sin offering, which was for the people, and slew it, and offered it for sin as the first. And the burnt offering was presented, and he offered it according to the ordinance. And he offered it according to the ordinance.
Okay, very good. So we see over here the Torah portion here is Shemini, which here, if we look in here we've got some more technologies here. We look here at our textbook here. Let's see it. Oh, up there? I can't. We have it here. You look here at the word, and it came to pass on the 8th day. The title here is Hashmani, right? The 8th. Which, if we think about this, right, it wasn't the 8th day of the month. It was the 8th day after the 7th days of consecration that the priests were doing from before. If we remember on last week that the priests, Moshe consecrated the priests. He anointed them. He put the oil on the priests. He made the sacrifices and things for the priests. And they had this like a 7-day consecration thing that they did. And so on the eighth day, which is also the first day, right? As far as they're concerned, right? It was the 8th day. It was the day after the 7th day. The 8th day. It didn't take 8 days for them to be consecrated. It took 7 days. But the 8th day, the day after, why couldn't they just say the next day after? Right? But they did, in fact, make it be connected to the consecration. So the way that that their consecration, their dedication is finished, is now they get to do some sacrifice. Now they get to do the thing that Moses was doing for them. The thing that they was getting ready for this whole time. Now is the time. You know, I didn't think about this before until just now. But next chapter, you know, one of the things that you think about in terms of why do these people sit up here and do this thing that they did. When I look at these kids and how they can be all like, they can't wait to, like how we had that ice cream the other day. Remember we had the ice cream maker the other day? And the kids were so like they couldn't even wait. They couldn't even wait. Each one wanted to. I don't want to talk about this right now. Oh, I just thought about that, but we'll talk about that more in a couple minutes. But here on what we see with the priest here is they get to now do the thing, right? And so if you notice, when we looked here, we see that now in verse 2, he said unto Aaron, this is one of the few places, right? Who said this? And it came to pass, Moses called, this is Moses. Okay, this is Moses. There are a few places where the Most High says unto Aaron. This is a place where Moses actually says unto Aaron and his sons. He said to Aaron, take this bull calf. So now, if you notice, Aaron now is making a sacrifice for himself. He's bringing a sin offering and a burnt offering. He's bringing a sin offering, which is one offering, and a ram for a burnt offering for himself. And so he's doing, it's interesting. What he's about to do really has to do with him officiating and also the people. The Most High, Moses just got finished sanctifying. And there was sin offerings involved in that. But now it's necessary for the priest to kind of take part in his own situation. And I guess now he got to bring sin offering for his own self, right? And so that's what we see here. The thing that he does first is that he takes a bull calf for a sin offering for himself and a ram offering for himself. Then in verse 3, we see that he brings a sin offering and a burnt offering for the people. So he brings the same two style, the same two type offerings for the priests and for the people. A sin offering and a burnt offering for himself and for the people. As well as, I think he does all of the offerings. Now that I think about it, I'm looking over. If we look at 3, he does a sin and a burnt for the people. 4, he does a peace offering and a meal. And then if we go all the way down, we didn't read to 21, but he does in fact do a wave. He does a wave offering all the way down in 21, which is kind of like a Thanksgiving offering. All right? And so let's see. So I wanted to look at, there's something interesting that, well, when we look down at verse 6, let's go back to 6 again. Let's go back to 6, verse 6. Here. Read again verse 6.
Verse 6 says, and Moses said, this is the thing which Yahweh commanded that ye should do. The glory of Yahweh may appear unto you.
Okay, very good. So, want to pay attention to the fact that it says that. This is the thing which Yahweh commanded you to do, that the glory of Yahweh may appear to you. In order for the Most High to appear to them, they have to go through all of these things here, these offerings. They take care of the sin of everyone. They offer these offerings, these various offerings. When you think about it, this is the instructed method of worship, right? And so when we look at this, it went through a list of offerings and said that you got to do all of this so that you can, the Most High can appear unto you. But you could have took out all of these verses here and all these instructions, and you could have put just worship right there. Because that's what they're doing, right? They when you go all the way back to the priest, the priests qualified themselves first to be able to officiate the worship, and then now they're officiating it, and then again, like we've seen in verse 6, it says that the glory, that the presence, the kavod may appear. So I thought that was interesting. The steps, right? It wasn't just gonna be like Moses, how Moses was like, but you just like it just came out of a conversation, like. And then Moses wanted the Most High to prove something to him. So, but then he was like, could you just, but for the people to get that same situation, I don't know if it's the same situation, but a type of that, the glory that he's going to show the rest of the people, right? Because
he did any sacrifice.
because he was at the in his tent speaking with him. He comes out of the tent and then he goes to the place that was by him. And so no, it didn't talk about none of that. Right, because the actual thing wasn't there yet. Right? It was before. So anyway, it's interesting that we see, all of these processes that go on so that the Most High can come. Now, interesting thing that our textbook brings out is in verse 8. Let's look again at verse 8. Read verse 8 there.
8 says, so Aaron drew near unto the altar.
No. I meant to say verse 7.
No, 7. 7. And Moses said unto Aaron, draw near unto the altar, and offer thy sin offering and thy burnt, and make atonement for thyself and for the people, and present the offering to the people, and make atonement for them. Man.
Okay, very good. So something that the textbook brings up here is when we look at verse 7. When we look at verse 7, Moses, when he says to Aaron, he says to him, draw near. Like he has to tell him, like, Moses, Aaron, here, come here. Check this out. Here, come over. You the one supposed to be doing this. Draw near. Right? Come here. Right? Well, he never did it before, right? And so Moses has to literally say to him, he says to him, draw near. But then look what these people say. These people say this, look. We're going to add that to the word list for this week. Diffident and fearful. We can get an idea what diffident means because he was diffident and fearful of approaching the altar. Therefore, Moses had to reassure him. Aaron did not enter upon his sacred duties with a feeling of self-exaltation and pride.
I have a light.
All that.
Okay, it's right there.
Good. Okay, so again, now one thing that we think about when we think about the Torah, um, is that we don't have superfluous words. We don't have words that are just there for nothing, extra, right? There's no fluff. The words that are there for a purpose, they're there for a reason, right? And so it's interesting that when we see, like, the whole thing here, when we look at this part, is about Aaron and the sons now stepping into their role, right? And now, when you think about the fact that Moses was doing all of these things, right? Moses was doing all these things, not for his own self, but for Aaron, right? And so he says to Aaron, draw near, right? Come get this work. Come do these things that you are now being commissioned to do, right? And it's interesting that he even has to say it, right? It's interesting that Aaron don't just jump in like, yeah, I got it.
I do right here.
Yeah, and when you think about it, really, it's understandable because he's moving into uncharted territory, right? He's never done this before. He's seen his brother do it, right? He saw him do it, but now it's his turn, right? So it's his first time. You think about later on when it talks about the priests, and it might even be in Leviticus, and it gives a starting time for the priests. And the first time you see the starting time is 25. And then the next time you see it is 30. The scripture don't necessarily talk about a 5-year apprenticeship for priests.
Right.
But it seems like it might be that. And so, with an apprenticeship, someone's, you're going. Someone's showing you the ropes for a period of time, not just one time. Your training days is longer than a week.
Yeah.
But he got his week of training, and then it's off to the races. And so I thought that was just an interesting thing that they added here to try to get us to think about why we have Moses, calling unto Aaron here. We don't know if this is the case, but these things that we look at, it causes us to look deeper into the situation and ask questions about why this or that is being said. All right. So again, when we go down the list, we saw that all of the offerings are brought. The sin, the burnt, the meal, the peace. And then also at the end of verse 21, it gets down to the wave. They waved the offering. So let's drop down to, matter of fact, let's read 21 through the end of the chapter. Hold on one second. Let me pull this up here.
23.
21 all the way to the end.
It says, and the breast right wage for a wave offering for Yahweh, as Moses commanded. And Aaron lifted up his hands for the people and blessed them. And he came down from offering the sin offering, the burnt offering, and peace offerings. And Moses and Aaron went into the tent of meeting and came out and blessed the people. And the glory of Yahweh appeared unto all the people. And there came forth fire of Yahweh and consumed upon the altar the burnt offering and fat. And when all the people saw it, they shouted and fell on their faces.
Okay, very good. All right, so we see that, before, as we said, when we looked at the, when we look back at verse 6, where it's referred to the offerings that were given, and then that they were doing the offerings so that the Most High would come. We see here at the end, he in fact comes, right? He came forth fire, and he consumed the things that was upon the altar. Now, it's interesting that we think about, this. I remember when I first got this barbecue grill that I had right now. I really wanted one of these kind of grills, very badly. This one that I got I thought it was nice. I was crossing over from gas back to charcoal. I'm a charcoal guy. And then I went over to gas. It lived its life.
You enjoyed just turning it on.
I mean, it was nice, but it's kind of like, it's not real grilling gas. If you're grilling with gas, you're not a barbecuer. I'm just gonna say that you're not really doing it. But anyway, huh?
It's like turning the stove.
Yeah, you might as well be in the house. Just go back in the house. It's fine. Go back in the house. And so I get this grill, and I get this great idea. It's Passover time. I get the grill right in line with Passover time. I get this great idea. I cut the fat off of the leg of lamb anyway. I always cut it off. I don't just burn it. I was gonna burn it. I don't care. Burn it right on this grill. I put that stuff on the grill, and let me tell you, this fat burnt so hot. It burnt so hot, and then me being the person that I am in terms of intelligence, right? I understand that fire needs oxygen to burn. And so it's no big deal. The fire's getting out of control. I'll just put the lid down. Put the lid down, I'll close the holes, and that'll be good. This fire was so raging that it was burning, and it burned like the paint on the grill on my brand new grill started to bubble. Like I got bubble marks on my grill because I was burning this fat that I got this bright idea to burn. Closing it didn't help, as the fire just was going crazy. I'm saying all that just to say, when you look at this where it says that the fire before Yahweh and consumed the altar, the burnt offering, the idea of this thing being consumed, right? Like it takes hours for all of this stuff to burn up, to be consumed. What's this word here mean? Because when I think of something that's consumed, I think of it as being there and then it isn't there anymore. You consumed it. If you eat a sandwich, you consume a sandwich. Sandwich is gone. I just picturing this idea of fire coming down and the stuff that's there is consumed. It's not there anymore. So let's look at this real quick and see. Because to me, it's kind of amazing, this idea, because all of this fat that they cut off that burns, like this is fuel. Like it's gonna burn up. Like it's gonna take a while. But it says right here that it was consumed. So let's think about this seriously. Consume, to eat, right? To burn, consume, devour, devoured up, right? And so these are things that you think about that deal with the thing being gone, right? If it says to eat literally or figuratively, and so
In modern Hebrew, that's the word to eat. Okay,
oh,
like
yeah,
that's the word to eat in modern Hebrew.
okay, all right, and so they kept it.
Food is okay.
Okay. All right. All right. And so the idea of something going away is seems to be present here, right? And so again, when I think about this idea of this fire coming and it consumes the whole thing. And right, and so I think about like, how we kind of think about if, somebody makes, you make somebody, this your favorite dish to make for the person to eat, and it's their favorite dish to eat, and they sit there and they eat the whole thing, right? It's kind of an indication that it was good, that you liked it, right? If you eat some and then it's like you don't eat it all, and it's like, yeah, I'll just save some for later. Really, you're probably gonna scrape it off.
I remember being offended by people like not eating my pound cake. Something. And I looked at the garbage can, I was like, pound cake? I would my pound cake. My pound cake in this garbage can. Like, who
They just scooped your little pound cake in the trash.
Yeah, like, who would do something like that?
Yeah.
I just remember that.
Yeah. And so when you present something to someone, you expect for the thing that is presented to be consumed, right? And so when we look at here at the Most High, first of all, he said that he was waiting on these things anyway so that he could show it. And then so he's kind of verifying the fact that he's pleased with the sacrifices, with the people, with Aaron, right?
So Aaron made amends.
He passed his test. Oh, what you saying? Made amends? Oh, oh, you take it all the way back. Yeah, he been good. It was already good already.
Yeah.
Well, I think, I have a theory. And my theory is that Aaron, he gets 3 strikes, and then on his 3rd strike, he's out.
Right.
And, we know that we serve a all-forgiving, merciful, gracious Elohim. And he's still gracious because he forgave him, and he didn't penalize him for what he obviously did. Like, he obviously made the golden calf. He obviously did it.
You really did.
It was probably really nice too. Like, he made it. You know what I mean? And so when you look at Aaron, but Aaron, he has some things that he has done. But at the end of the day, I think and me anyway, when I think about Aaron's visible transgressions that we know about in the scripture, it's really just one. It's three offenses, but it's the same thing.
Listen,
Yeah, yeah. Every time.
Right.
Every time, right? Instead of standing up, he sits down. Right? Instead of doing what's right, he allows for other things to happen. But he did it over and over again. Right? And so it's the same thing. And so even though my theory is not all the way intact, all the way, the three strikes kind of a thing.
I like
I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with it.
that's
I'm
what
saying-
happened.
yeah.
Yeah, three transgressions.
Which were the same transgression, manifested differently.
Does that mean that, people, they cross over hypocrites who are in different types of leadership type positions? They try to say, oh, you have to be perfect or whatever, forget that everything. Or, mostly, but,
Man, you should have yourself together. Aaron, I think the thing with Aaron is that he may. It's like he may have been genuinely sorry for the thing that he was doing, but I feel like there's that underlying thing, the thing that he like his weakness that he was never able to get was the thing, right? But I don't want to talk too much about Aaron right now because it's not really about that. This is Aaron's time to shine. Aaron right now is shining. He shines. He does what he's supposed to do. He did all of the sacrifices. The Most High is pleased with what he did, and we see that with these last verses over here.
Right.
you don't want to be too.
No, you can't. You can't. All right, so let's go forward. Let's go over to chapter 10. Let's go to chapter 10 and read up to verse. Let's just read all. Well, let's read to 7. Genesis 10 up to 7. Shining. Yeah. All right, hold on. Let me pull it up on the screen here as soon as I find my cursor.
You see chapter 10?
Aaron, Leviticus.
It's on page 4.
Okay, read from 1 to, what did I say? Verse 7.
All right, to 10, 1 through 7. It says, and Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took each of them, his censer, and put fire therein, and laid incense therein, and offered strange fire before Yahweh, which he had not commanded. And there came forth fire before Yahweh, and devoured them, and they died before Yahweh. Then Moses said unto Aaron, this is it that Yahweh spoke, saying, through them that are nigh unto me, I will be sanctified, and before all the people I will be glorified. And Aaron held his peace. And Moses called Mishael and Elzaphan, the sons of Uziel, the uncle of Aaron, and said unto them, Draw near, carry your brethren from before the sanctuary out of the camp. So they drew near, and carried them in their tunics out of the camp. And Moses had said, as Moses had said, and Moses said unto Aaron, and unto Eleazar, and unto Ithamar, his son, Let not the hair of your heads go loose, neither rend your clothes, that ye die not, and that ye be not wroth with all the congregation. But let your brethren, the house of Israel, bewail the burning which Yahweh hath kindled. And ye shall not go out from the door of the tent of meeting, lest ye die. For the anointing oil of Yahweh is upon you. And they did according to the word of Moses.
Okay, very good. So we go up here and look at this and see as it relates to Nadab and Abihu. And so, like I was saying, before, when we in anticipation of a thing, like children, we can't wait. We can't wait to, we literally just experienced this with our brand new ice cream maker, right? We had to put our ingredients all together and mix them all up, and then put it in the freezer and wait until tomorrow. Wait until the next day. When we did it the other day, the kids had left out, and they came back, and they couldn't even hardly stand it. The first thing they wanted to do as soon as they got back in the house was to go into that into that freezer and bust open the ice cream that we had made the previous day. And I'm sure when we get home today, we're going to do that all over again from the ice cream that was made yesterday. And so when I think about Nadab and Abihu, when we have this, kind of at the part where the priests, they just recently get their priest clothes. Like he probably still got his fresh creases in his priest outfit. Right? He probably don't got no wrinkles. He ain't sat down yet. They was ready to go. And so there's so many things. There's so many possibilities. So when you look at this verse 1 over here, I'm trying to think of what they did. What did they do? Like, what did they do exactly? It says that the sons of Aaron took each of them his censer. Does each priest have their own censer that they take? That's what it seems like. It seems like they have a censer. Or is there a censer that's dedicated to the situation and everyone uses the one censer? Is there one group censer that's used? Or do they all get one? Well, each one took his censer. They both seem like they both had a censer. So either the priests have one, or there's one that's used. If there's one that's used, there's two of them, so that's an issue. Among other things, I'm just saying, is this like a compound thing? Or it's just the fact that they, it's just, Aaron goes in, right? They don't go in. Okay, so there's that. And then so there's the censer thing, right? There's the censer thing. And then there's the fire thing. They put fire there on. And so what they're supposed to do is from the altar, from the golden altar of incense, you get the coals, not the brazen altar, but the
The inside.
yes. Yeah, the golden one. The golden one's the one inside, the brazen one's the one that's outside. And so what the person is supposed to do, I'm saying the person is supposed to do, he gets some of those coals, he puts them on the censer, whether it's his or he puts it on the censer, and he uses the specific incense, right? Because we got to look at all of the things here. There's a censer, there's fire, and there's incense. And I really feel like any one of those three things could be off and make the whole thing be strange.
Right.
He was very specific on what he wanted to be done.
Right. And so, actually, there's four things because there's the right guy. There's the right guy. There's a censer. There's the right fire, and there's the right incense. And so any one of those things being off, I feel like could be classified as strange fire. The whole thing is strange once you add, like if I got some chicken soup, some chicken noodle soup, and you done pour some fat grease in, some bacon fat grease into it, and you done made the whole thing is strange. Right? And so I gotta have all of the ingredients is together. Because again, we had the instructions, some weeks back now at this point for the incense, right? There was a specific recipe for the incense. You couldn't use it nowhere else. You couldn't use the incense nowhere else. You couldn't, if you was gonna make the recipe, you better leave one of them ingredients out of there. You cannot make the recipe the way that the Bible says for you to do it. Do not do that. That was made specifically for the operation of the tabernacle. And so I'm saying that these guys really could have messed up on any one of those things. I mean, when you think about it, the one thing they could have done wrong is the fact that both of them is trying to do it. I mean, neither one of them is the high priest right now. Can't do it, but why couldn't just one of them do it? Why wasn't they like, well, you go, and then come out, and then I'm gonna go, come back? Like I'm saying that they had to have known. At bare minimum, both of them can't go in there. But when you think about these, now, I'm just gonna say, a 25-year-old is a kid. I'm saying that. A 25-year-old is a kid, still. I'm just saying that. So they really could have been like 25.
Yeah.
They could have been kids. You know what I mean? Like, what made them do this?
They was not expecting from the idea of drawing near.
I mean, there was, oh my goodness, there was instructions given, and they just was way Too comfortable. Way too comfortable. Way too comfortable.
Yep.
Here, let's see what our textbook has to say about Nadab and Abihu. So let's pull that up for us real quick here. Let's switch the camera. Do I gotta keep doing it? Yeah, that's better. Okay. Here, read this number 1 point. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Oh, yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
It says, Nadab and Abihu, Aaron's eldest sons, their death points to the moral, boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth. That day promised to be the happiest in Aaron's life, as he, the high priest, was moving on about in his magnificent robes and performing the solemn duties of his exalted office. How elated he must have been, yet soon his 2 sons were lying dead at his feet.
Crazy. Right? And so, again, you think about the fact that, Aaron, he had to be excited today. I forgot about the fact that, he got this fancy get up. He got his whole everything together. And Moses is just like, chill. Let the people mourn. Let the people mourn. Not you.
Some of the times that I feel like events were kind of standard behaviors of others.
You crazy.
The food codes where we're all together, and then there's people complaining about no. And it's why are you're trying, I have to keep my on a spiritual high, and basically, and the faith. You know what I mean? But this is it's this is a day where everything should be good, and now.
I know it just went all the way left. It went all the way left. But let's look at what our textbook has to say about the strange fire. What does that say?
Strange fire, it says unconsecrated fire, not from the divinely kindled flames on the altar. On the very day of the consecration of the sanctuary, they ventured to change an essential of the service in obedience to a momentary whim. The circumstances and in view of their office, it constituted an unpardonable offense. The rabbis, observing that the narrative is followed by injunction that the priests were not to drink intoxicating liquor before performing their duties, state that VAF state that Nadab and Abihu had dared to enter the sanctuary under the influence of drink. Another suggestion is that they had consulted neither Moses nor Aaron in taking the step that they did. In that, this deliberate disregard of their elders sprang from unfilial jealousy. they asked themselves,
Yeah, go right. No, don't turn the page.
oh, they asked themselves, when will these old men die? How long must we wait to leave the congregation? It was an envious ambition that led them to commit an unhallowed deed, which called down terrible retribution upon them.
Okay, very good. So, all of these are things that, there's a definite possibilities of situations that, could in fact have been the case. Again, where you think of whether you say that they brought some fire from some other place, or, or again, any portion of wrong makes what they did strange fire. But the other part is the why. The why. What causes them? What causes them to sit up here and think that it was right for them to do that? Like, what gave them the audacity to go into that place? They had to have known. They had to have known.
The time there was a walk through, and like you're permitted here to do this. This is off limit. Don't go in there. Holy.
I mean, I don't know that they didn't have that. I'm saying that they should have known. You're saying that maybe. I feel like they were told what they were supposed to do. Because anything else, is that right?
They didn't know.
They didn't know what I'm saying because they did know, their punishment was death. Right? It was that severe because I feel like they went into the situation with knowledge. They knew they was out of order, which lends to the idea that maybe they did have a little sippy sip. So because they wasn't acting right. They wasn't acting right. Here, let's just read. We won't keep talking about this, but let's read verse 8 through 11.
And 8 through 11. And Yahweh spoke unto Aaron, saying, drink no wine nor strong drink, thou nor thy son with thee, when ye go into the tent of meeting, that ye die not. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generation, and that ye may put difference between the holy and the common, and between the unclean and the clean. And that ye may teach the children of Israel all the statutes which Yahweh hath spoken unto them by the hand of Moses.
Okay, very good. So, another thing is, again, when we talked about the idea of Moses saying to Aaron, draw near, and the fact that there's no kind of fluff in the scriptures, and there's no such things as coincidence. It's interesting that verse 9 is here with these other verses. It causes you to think that it's all connected. And the reason that Moses is, getting these commands here from the Most High. Oh, and Yahweh spoke unto Aaron, saying, "This is one of those places, right? There's not many of these places. Somebody count the places." And Yahweh spoke unto Aaron. There's not many of these. This is one right here. But it comes at this time where we see the death of Nadab and Abihu. Were they drunk off of that wine or some strong drink? You know what I mean? Because why is this right here? Why is this right here unless it has something to do with the context of what's going on? Because it really says exactly what the situation is, right? Drink no wine nor strong drink, nor thy sons will be when you go into the tent of meeting, that you die not, like they did, right? I mean, this is the command here. Now, this is something to think about. This is the command right here. We don't have this command before. I mean, maybe, is it common sense, though? Like, that you want to be in your right mind to do these holy things? Maybe. I feel like it is. Again, when we think about Moses kind of guiding Aaron, there potentially might be some trepidation with Aaron. Not these guys. Why? Because maybe they got that courage juice in them.
It wasn't in the right mind.
They got some of that courage juice in them, and they like, come on,
It's
Abihu.
3 times.
3 times what?
In the Torah, 3 times.
3 times. That's it. Just curious. What's the other 2 times?
They're both Numbers 18. Numbers 18, verse 8.
Numbers 18, verse 8. Okay, I'm curious to know what the situations are. Numbers 18, verse 8. Oh, this is in regards to priestly duties.
Yeah.
What's the other?
18, verse 20. That's to their land. Thou shalt have no inheritance.
Okay.
So he's speaking directly to something that involves Aaron directly.
Yes. But the thing about it is there's many places where the Most High speaks to Moses to speak to Aaron about things that are connected with him directly.
I mean, we do know that other place would be when he spoke directly to Miriam and Aaron.
Yes.
But this is where it says, and he spoke to.
Yeah. Okay, very good. That's neither. It's just something that I was thinking about. Okay, so when we think about this situation over here, I think that to me the text connects. It helps us to see what the offense of these guys was. Is that there's multiple. I'm saying that there's multiple things that are causing this fire to be strange. It's compounded. It's a compounded thing. Starting off with the fact that they were probably, a little. Number one, which makes them,
Judgment is
which makes either one of them decide that they're supposed to go into the place. But not only that, but then they say both of us, let's both go, right? And go do this thing and it's not even the right time. Like, it's not the right time. It's not the right person. They're not in the right frame of mind. And again, and then when you put 10 on it, this command in verse 9 is given to us. Why? So that you may know that there's a difference between holy and common. There's a difference between unclean and clean. Now, nobody better not ever try to tell me that somebody in the Bible said that pork is now clean.
All this.
They better not say that to me. Because this is a huge message right here. The messaging is huge. The Most High's holy place is so holy. And he wants these people to understand so much that he had to make an example out of these two men here.
There could not have been hand.
No, it couldn't have just been, now, you shouldn't have done that, Nadab and Abihu.
This time.
You get 5 demerits. They had to die immediately. They didn't even get sick and die. They died immediately. They got struck down with some holy lightning. But it's for a purpose, though, that there be a difference between holy and common. I got somebody right now. He overheard me talking to someone about Passover. And I was talking about, I would make the lamb. I was telling the person who was coming to Passover, not this Passover, this was some years ago. And it was overheard by somebody who wasn't invited to Passover. Purpose. Now, I don't remember using these words, but he has such a good memory that I might have said it. I might have used the word common. I don't remember saying common, but he remembers me saying it. Because, I have in my mind, Passover is for those that have been redeemed. It's not used like how mainstream Christianity uses Easter and people come out the woodworks and they don't really have a relationship with the Messiah, but they come to honor his resurrection when they don't even benefit from it. As far as a relationship goes. Right? And so when Passover comes along, we don't have a big Passover and say, come one,
We don't
come all.
have like a conference room at the hotel.
No, we don't just have everybody just coming, right? Because it seems to me that Passover was for those who are redeemed. And so we make a difference between holy.
Yeah.
And so when we think about over here, this message that the Most High was teaching to Nadab, Abihu, Moses, Aaron, everybody who was involved over here, it was necessary for him to know going forward. You got to make a difference between those things, which is holy and which is common. Look at where we're at. We're in chapter 10. Next chapter is chapter 11. He's about to start talking about food. Yeah, while we at it, let's get all this stuff out the way. Right? And so it's a terrible thing that this had to be like it had to be, but it had to be like that. Because the Most High don't play no games. He went through all of these instructions, laws. If he left this slide, what did he say all of that other stuff before? Why does the high priest get all this beautiful clothes for in the first place? Why does he get all these instructions for him to do what he has to do one time a year? Well, I guess technically he didn't get the instructions yet until a couple of chapters down the road. But the point is that there's things that are for the high priest to be doing only, and there's specific instructions as to how he's supposed to do it. And the Most High wants for those things to be followed to the T. And when they're not followed, we read in what's it, James? If you break one command, you've broken them all.
I did I had a woman class, and we talked about, or I talked to them about how that word, unholy there, it means to like cook something unholy.
What?
Like,
What?
it means to,
Hold on.
verse 10. The unclean one. No, unholy.
Oh, unholy. Unholy. So it's not even like no holy.
Not good.
Whole. It sounds like whole, don't it? Exposed, properly exposed, profane, common, holy, exposed. If something is concealed, if I'm exposing it, I am causing you to be able to look at the thing that was, previously hidden. Let's look at that. I believe you, but I'm not even going. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to find my cursor. Here we go. Let me pull it up right here. First, I gotta click on it. Unholy. Oh, I see here. To bore or pain. A hole is drilled with a tool called a bow drill. The string of the bow is wrapped around the drill, moving the bow. Oh, you know what? This is like this is like your man Bear Grylls.
Your man.
This is like your man Bear Grylls. Whenever he'll get like a piece of stick, and then he'll tie a string on both sides of it, and then he'll wrap it around the stick. Where if you put the stick down, and then you run it back and forth, it spins the stick, and so you got like a little hole in the wood, and then you sit there and you move it back and forth, and it spins the stick, and that's how you get the friction and you light a fire. So you're digging a hole down, like instead of doing this with the stick, you tie it onto the thing and you go back and
Yeah,
forth
you
like that.
have more leverage.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. See, that's what you know what I'm talking about right there. Okay, so that's interesting because when you think about this idea here of I like the fact that we have the Kadash, that we have actually a word that actually means like holy, set apart. And then this unholy is not, it's not like the opposite of it. It's like a whole other thing. And so there's a definite difference between like holy, like Kadash and low Kadash. Right? But this is some whole other thing. Like there's no under no circumstances does this thing belong with that thing.
There are like that the JPS says holy and common because it doesn't necessarily fit the two things.
Yeah, because it make there be a distinction.
And that's why I was telling those people at that time that you can really turn your holiness into commonness by putting holes in your holiness. Basically, undermining your holiness is going to take you away.
Hey, when you was talking to them ladies, you was preaching to them ladies, boy. I'm gonna tell you what, right there. Now you need to put that down somewhere and talk to some more ladies about that right there, because that right there is interesting. Right? So what's that? Het is it's like a fence looking thing. And so the fence makes differentiation. Difference. It blocks out. It keeps the stuff on the outside out there. Stuff on the inside. And so we talking about something that's unholy. Somehow you was led. Somehow you was led to make there not be a distinction where a distinction was supposed to be at. This is so important to our lives in this life that we're in. Because there's a difference between those that are connected to Messiah and those that aren't. And it's interesting because in these situations over here, this is why I always get stuck on the thing that you like to talk about all the time with the altar, because it's easier to make something clean dirty than it is to make a dirty thing clean. I just took my weather techs out of the truck the other day, and I took them downstairs and I scrubbed them with stuff. No, I didn't scrub yours. No, I didn't scrub. I'm not ashamed. I took them out of the truck. I scrubbed them with soap, hot water. I took them down the basement and cleaned them off, rinsed them off, put them outside to dry. And when them things dried, now when they was wet, they look pristine. They look like I just took them out the package. But when they dried, man, they look better, but it was hard to make them dirty things be clean.
How about this floor in this room?
The examples can go on and on. When something's clean, man, that thing is clean, but it takes work to keep it clean. But when the thing get dirty, you can't hardly never get it back to the state that it was prior to that. And so that's why the Most High didn't have for there to be this mixture. We just read, when you got a clay pot and that thing gets defiled, you got to destroy that thing. It can't never be clean. It got pores in it. That thing can never come back. And so to go, so thinking about the idea of us as believers and the way that we are supposed to be, we're light. We're light, but light don't gotta be right up on something in order for it to affect it. It could be back here. And I can shine my light over there. And they can see it from over there.
Or like everyone on that laser beam.
Oh man, the laser could go even further, right? That's light, it's just light. But the point is that you don't gotta have that closeness. I don't need to have a relationship with somebody on the outside unless they try and come to the inside. I could be like, come on over here. But I don't gotta go over there. Because it's easier for me to get dirty than it is for them to get clean. It's easier for them to pull me down than it is for me to pull them up. And so, it's important for us to know that, we can't be, the scriptures talk about unequally yoked. You can't be unequally yoked with non-believers. I'm going to go out and try to affect the non-believers with my light, but I'm not going to yoke myself to them because they got too much influence. I don't want to be mixed up with that. Right? Okay. What time? All right. We said what we can say about all of that. Because we got a hard stop. Midweek Torah class. So, that being said, y'all willing, will be back on Shabbat to talk about the second half of the Torah portion, Shemini. I see Elder Parker in the building. Appreciate you checking out our midweek Torah class. And I see Hadassah over there too. Good to see you over there. Okay, all right. Thank you, y'all. All right. So, y'all willing, we will be back with this class on next week. And we'll be back on Shabbat to talk about the rest of this Torah portion. All right? Okay, so shalom, shalom. Where my cursor is.